What's up, everybody, and welcome into the first episode of the Parlay Prince podcast. So a little bit about this channel, what we're going to do. The main focus of this channel is to put money into your bank account. But at the same time, we're going to analyze sports, talk about the topics in the given weeks. We're going to mostly cover NFL, college football, a little bit of MLB postseason here and there, and then we're also going to get into when basketball starts and also hockey as well. But the main goal of this podcast is to entertain as well as make you guys some money. So without further ado, let's get into the video and let's get into the podcast. Let's start this journey. A little recap from last week. This college football past Saturday. You had the number one team in the country go down. You had a top 5 matchup that lived up to the billing. Very good game. You had the Red River rivalry. Texas almost beat OU. Didn't happen, but a great game nonetheless. And you have Michigan State continuing to stay undefeated. First off, let's talk about the number one team in the country, Alabama. Nothing went right for Alabama. I was really high on Alabama last week. Didn't work out. They went into College Station, Kyle Field, 109,000 people, and they walked out with Jimbo Fisher handing Nick Saban his first loss against one of his assistant coaches. I think he was like 24-0, something like that, which is insane. But Alabama, they just didn't look themselves. And things that happen in the game just don't happen against Alabama. A kickoff return for a touchdown. Bryce Young got intercepted in the end zone, which was kind of like a fluky play. And Alabama came back then after being down by, I believe, 2 touchdowns at halftime, maybe 10 points, take the lead, and then they give it up again. It was crazy. I personally think Alabama going forward is going to be fine, at least until the SEC title game. Mississippi State this week, I think they opened up as 17-point favorites. Mike Leach and Mississippi State, I feel sorry for you because it's not going to be close. So then Georgia, number 2 team in the country, they go to Jordan-Hare and play Auburn. Auburn was hot off a win at Death Valley against LSU, and it didn't really work out for them this week. Georgia was in total control after Auburn got an opening field goal on, I believe, the first drive. That was all she wrote for the game. Bo Nix and company couldn't get anything done. Georgia's legit. I mean, they just don't give up any points. Last week, they played Arkansas, and they pitched a shutout. And then Arkansas goes to Oxford and plays Ole Miss and wins. Well, it doesn't win, but they put up 50 points. I mean, that just goes to show how good a Georgia team is and how good their defense is. Number 3 versus number 4 this past weekend, Iowa, Penn State. Great game. I wish Sean Clifford would have stayed in the game. I mean, I had Iowa's money line, but still, I mean, Penn State, you just don't know because their starting quarterback left, and he was out of the game. When he left, it was 17-3, I believe. Penn State was in total control, and then after that, Iowa just kept chipping away at the lead, and Penn State wasn't getting anything going. And people, obviously Penn State fans and just people in general are going to say, Sean Clifford, they would have won if that was the case, but and rightfully so. But Penn State, their problem has been they haven't been able to establish a run game. They just haven't done it. And this has been the whole year that they haven't been able to establish a run game, and that definitely played a factor. Iowa's defense is lights out. But still, Iowa, they definitely played well. The only thing that I would say about Iowa is that their offense. I mean, the offense is still a little shaky, and I still think Ohio State's the class of the Big Ten. If you played them in the Big Ten title game, how are you going to put up enough points to stick with Ohio State's prolific offense? Cincinnati won, I believe, 52-3 on Friday night against Temple. Wasn't much of a game. It just wasn't. I mean, you don't even really have to analyze it. It's Cincinnati versus Temple. And then we get on to Oklahoma, Texas. Oklahoma, they looked bad early on. They really did. They looked really bad early on, and it took a while. It took Spencer Rattler to get benched. I'm getting the numbers up here. I mean, I forget what he got benched. Like, I think they were down maybe 21 points. Texas was in complete control. They put in Caleb Williams and gets flipped around. I mean, if you think about it, Spencer Rattler was the consensus number one pick next year. Heisman frontrunner. He was going to run away with it. They're 5 or 6 games in now, and he's benched against your biggest rival. Man, that's crazy. Ohio State continued to roll. I expect Ohio State to make the Big Ten title game and win the Big Ten. I just think the Oregon game was a one-off game. I mean, you can afford to lose those against a non-conference opponent like Oregon. And then Michigan State, I think people aren't giving them enough credit. Michigan's look good. They go into Lincoln and win a game at Nebraska. That's tough. Michigan State just continues to roll. I mean, Vegas isn't really giving them any credit. I mean, they were 5-point favorites at Rutgers. That was disrespectful, but oh well. I think Michigan State is a very good team. Now, my rankings right now, if I had to put them, they said you have a vote on the college football committee. I would say first is Georgia. I think it's not even really close. 2 is Iowa. I mean, they won at Iowa State. They beat then-ranked Indiana. And, they beat Penn State as well. So, I mean, they're 2. 3, I'm still going Oklahoma over Cincinnati. I don't think... I like Cincinnati, but the only thing about them is they beat Notre Dame. That's their best win. And at Notre Dame, and it's a good win, but Notre Dame isn't as good as they were last year or the year before. So, I mean, you got to take it with a grain of salt. I think Oklahoma's a better team. If you put them on a neutral site field, I think Oklahoma wins that game by a touchdown or 2. But yeah, so I would put Oklahoma 3, Cincinnati's 4. I don't know if that's going to stay that way as the season progresses, but as of right now, they're 4. I mean, with Cincinnati, it's that schedule. I mean, if you're playing teams like Temple and an Oklahoma team is playing Texas, I mean, who is the committee going to side with? They're going to side with Oklahoma. That's why I put them over top of Cincinnati. Cincinnati 4, and then 5, Alabama. I don't think Alabama falls far. I mean, look, they lost a game at one of the toughest atmospheres in college football, and they still probably should have won the game. I think Alabama runs the table, and I think Alabama stays at 5 for right now. And then 6 is Ohio State. I think Ohio State has top 4 talent. I think they're better than Iowa. I think they're the 3rd best team in the country, personally. Obviously, Georgia 1 and then Alabama 2 in pure talent. I like Ohio State a lot. That's why I put them in the 6th spot, ahead of undefeated Michigan and undefeated Michigan State. All right, and then NFL this past weekend. Let me get the scores up here. It was a very interesting Sunday. You had Patty Mahomes get blown out at Arrowhead. I mean, let's call it what it was, folks. It was a blowout. Chiefs, who just don't really look good this year. They're giving up a lot of points. They're forcing their offense to score on every single possession. And the Chargers are winning that division. I got news for you. Now, I saw today on one of the shows that Kansas City, they're up in there. They might not make the playoffs. They're making the playoffs. Kansas City's going to win 10 to 11 games, but I don't think they win that division because I think the Chargers are winning 12 to 13. So good win to Buffalo. I can't take anything away from them. They played well. Josh Allen's putting up ridiculous numbers. And we had Cowboys. Cowboys blew out the Giants. Daniel Jones hurt. Saquon Barkley. That game was over at halftime. It was 7 points. It was over at halftime. Chargers, impressive win. Come from behind. The Browns, I mean, it's like these big games they should win. They just don't win them. That's why I don't really trust them enough. I think it's the Ravens' division to lose. Bears beat the Raiders. I don't know if this was necessarily the Bears just beating the Raiders in a way like they're better. I think it was because everything going on with John Gruden and all those emails and stuff like that, that's a cloud over the team. I think the Raiders might be toast. Steelers beat the Broncos. Same thing as the Panthers and Eagles. Panthers and Broncos, they're two overhyped teams. It's a mirage. I don't see either one of those teams really competing by the end of the year. Titans win. I would sure hope so. Then you have Saints. Saints beat the football team, and also the Vikings won. But so now we are going to transition from NFL to my picks of the week in college football. I got 3 stone cold locks for you, and then we're also going to go over the Prince's parlay of the week. You're not going to want to miss it. Starting off with our 3 picks in college football. First off, we got UTSA minus 18.5. They're at home against Rice. I'm going to give you a few numbers here as to why I'm thinking it, and I'll do this every week. Give you 3 plays, and then I'm going to give you a parlay of the week. First, with UTSA minus 18.5, total defense. Rice is 108th in the country. 108th out of, I think, 130 teams. They've given up 445 points per game. Rice is also, they have 12 total points. Like, that's their average of total points in a game is 12. That's not going to cut it when UTSA is 23rd in the country and they put up 34.2 points per game. The Rice, 12 points per game. They're 129th in the country in points per game. That's how bad it's been. I don't think it's going to change this weekend. UTSA Roadrunners minus 18.5. Go and lock that in. Next up, we have Wisconsin minus 13 against Army. And I know, but when you're watching this, you're going to say, oh, Wisconsin. I mean, no. They've had a rough go of it the first 5 weeks. I believe they're 2-3. They've lost to Penn State. They've lost to Notre Dame. They've lost to Michigan. Yeah, those are the 3. And they didn't really put up any points in those games. Their defense kept them in it. But I will say this about Wisconsin. They got the number 1 rushing defense in the country. They give up 41 yards per game. That's insane. They're giving up per clip, per rush, 1.4 per carry. That's first in the country as well. Army, this is why I'm taking Wisconsin, because they're going against the right opponent. Army, they throw the ball the second least out of any team in the country behind Air Force. They throw the ball here. They're 130th in passing attempts per game this year. I mean, that's all you need to know. Their running game is second in the country, but they're getting like 4.4 yards per carry, which is like 50th in the country. The reason that they have so many yards is because they run the ball every play. I think they're averaging like 5 passes per game. You're not going to run on Wisconsin night game in Camp Randall and put up all these numbers. And also Wisconsin, if this means anything to you, I like to look at this type of stuff. They've only played 5 primetime home games at Camp Randall Stadium since 2016. In those games, they're 4-1, and the average margin of victory in those games is 18.4. So you got some room to work with. I imagine the time that I'm filming this, it's 13. I could see it going up to 14, 14 and a half. But if you can get it at 13, definitely do it. Wisconsin's going to win this game. I'm seeing 23-3. I don't think it's going to be really close. Their defense is too good. So Wisconsin minus 13. Then my third game in my pick'ems is San Diego State minus 8 against San Jose State. Put it this way, San Jose State is not very good at all. Like I've watched a few of their games and they're really, really bad. San Diego State is a good team. I think they're the best team in the Mountain West Conference. It's debatable between them and Fresno. Fresno lost to Hawaii last week, so it kind of makes me lean like San Diego State's the cream of the crop this year in the Mountain West. They're number 8 in the country in points per game. San Jose State is 122nd in points per game in the country, so that margin's pretty high. San Diego State's also number 15 in the country in rushing yards per game. Their guy Greg Bell has 100 yards in every single game he started besides one. And the one game he didn't play, he only played 2 snaps against Towson. So I definitely like San Diego State in this game. They've won 7 of 8 against San Jose State with a margin of victory of like 22.1. It is at San Jose State, but I don't think it's really going to matter. I like San Diego State big in this game, like really big. I think they win by like 30 personally. So lock minus 8 and you're not going to regret it. Go Aztecs in this one. And then my parlay of the weekend. I'm going to go over to NFL, and it's going to be Chiefs money line, Packers money line. That's minus 110 odds. I think it's a stone cold lock. Washington, I don't think is very good. Patty Mahomes, their strength was their defense, and their defense has given up ridiculous numbers this year. Taylor Heineke, I mean, they do have weapons. I'll give them that, but you mean to tell me that in a shootout, because it will be a shootout, that Taylor Heineke is going to beat Patrick Mahomes? You're crazy. They're not losing 2 in a row. I'm taking Kansas City on the first leg, and the second leg is Green Bay on the road at Soldier Field against the Bears. This is a 2-team parlay, minus 110. I think it's a stone cold lock. Aaron Rodgers, they're winning. They're finding ways to win. They're not blowing people out, but they're winning games. They're minus 4.5. I mean, personally, I'm not taking minus 4.5. I think they win the game. I think it could be 1 point. It could be 20 points. The fact of the matter is Green Bay wins. That's just what they do. So that's a 2-team parlay, minus 110. That's the Prince's parlay of the weekend. I love it. I love all these plays. Just in recap, UTSA minus 18.5, Wisconsin -13, and San Diego State -8. I hope you guys have a great weekend. You kill the books. And yeah, maybe we'll shoot a video this weekend. Maybe we'll shoot a video on Saturday or Sunday as the games are going on and kind of analyze it. But yeah, so this is going to be a weekly thing. We're going to drop this every Wednesday. Every Wednesday, there's going to be a new video out where we're going to go over plays. We're going to discuss last weekend's games and get into some sports news as well. Let me know down in the comment section what you guys like. If you want to see more news, analyze sport like events. I got a lot to say on Ben Simmons. I got a lot to say about the MLB postseason. Right now, I think the Braves are going to win the World Series. I call it a hot take, but I like the Braves. And then we got NBA starting up soon. And who doesn't love NBA? Pretty soon, in about a month, you're going to hear not only Ben Simmons, you're going to hear 2 to 3 other players who are wanting out of their situation. So yeah, no, that's going to be interesting. We got NHL starting up. We're going to talk a little bit about that. I might drop a power ranking for that in the NBA. And yeah, so thank you for tuning in to the first podcast. And yeah, put the plays in. And we'll see you soon. Thank you for watching.